Well, here we are again. Sony is back on their bullshit. A new game called Martha is Dead is having its PlayStation version censored. This time, it's not about nudity, it's about gore for once, which is a change of pace for Sony. If you've watched my other vids, or probably thousands of other videos people have made about Sony censoring things in the past, you'd know they usually go after nudity, and usually when it's a Japanese game. But let's talk about Martha is Dead. I'm gonna read the Steam description because, admittedly, before hearing about this, I didn't know this game existed.
Martha is Dead is a dark first-person psychological thriller set in 1944 Italy that blurs the line between reality, superstition, and the tragedy of war.
You know, that sounds kind of interesting in terms of setting, and the graphics look pretty good. But let's get into why this was censored. There's a scene in the game where the player has to cut somebody's face off and then wear it like a mask. Holy shit, that's pretty fucking metal. Honestly, after looking it up, my description of it sounds way worse than how it's actually portrayed in the game. And you know what? I'm just gonna play it. So skip to the timestamp on screen right now if you don't like blood and gore. Honestly, it's not that bad. I've seen way worse in horror films. But if you don't want to see that, skip to the timestamp on screen. Okay, 3, 2, 1, here you go. Yeah, so Sony is censoring this, and the devs made a statement about it.
Martha is Dead, PlayStation Update. Martha is Dead is a narrative adventure recommended for adult audiences only, with play consisting of potentially discomforting scenes and themes that may distress some players. Both Wire Productions and LKA have always been open and honest about Martha is Dead's content, with the sensitive depictions and play consistently communicated to the media since the game was announced in 2019. This content is also flagged clearly and repeatedly within the game itself before play begins. It is with regret that we had to modify the experience on the PS5 and PS4 versions, with some elements no longer playable. After over 4 years of passion and hard work, developer LKA now requires extra time to make these unplanned changes. Martha is Dead, as a result, will still launch digitally on both PS5 and PS4 on Thursday, February 24th, 2022, but the physical retail release will be delayed to a yet-to-be-disclosed date. Although, we anticipate this to only be a small number of weeks, our physical edition will still contain the bonus content of a double-sided poster, digital tarot cards, and Martha is Dead digital EP. We will update players with the date we ship this edition as soon as we have the information. The PC and Xbox versions of Martha is Dead are both unaffected by these developments, and will launch with the full, unedited gameplay as planned. We look forward to players experiencing the work of LKA on Thursday, February 24th, 2022.
What's strange is the wording of it. They say some elements are no longer playable. It's interesting they didn't say altered or removed. So people are speculating that the face rip is in the game, but it's not a mini game, it's basically a cutscene at that point. Now, if that is the case, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because I assume the issue is a depiction of someone's face getting sliced off, right? Is it really better if it's You know, if it's just a cutscene and the player doesn't have control over it, is it that much better? Because that doesn't make any sense to me. It's also interesting that Sony is taking the stance when, you know, you can blow people's heads off in Red Dead 2 and The Last of Us 2, especially in other games. So it's not like Sony doesn't have gory games on their platform. So I don't know why they're drawing a line here. This is a horror game. Like, the whole point of horror is to make you feel uncomfortable. And I have a feeling a scene like this is doing just that. Now, to me personally, I've seen way worse, but the part where he puts the face on was pretty gnarly. And that did kind of make me go, ooh, that's nasty. Ugh. So I think they succeeded on some level. And of course, you know, for different people, it's going to affect them more. Because horror is subjective. Like, I find, like, some things that people find scary don't scare me at all. And vice versa. So I think it serves the purpose that they're trying to do, which is to freak you out and make you uncomfortable. Now, normally I would have just ended the video right here, but when I started looking at footage for the game, because I wanted to actually see the face rip, because a lot of the stuff I saw reporting it, they didn't have the clip. I saw a video by a guy named ZDEyE. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, but if that's wrong, someone will let me know in the comments, I guess. But ZDEyE is saying that this censorship is a good thing. So let's take a look at his video and see why he thinks this is a good idea. Do you like sci-fi? Do you like superhero teams? Well, you might want to check out my book, Renegades Volume 1 Rise, now available on Amazon, both physical and digital. Set in the far future, humanity accidentally crossed over into another dimension while trying to escape a dying Earth. They arrived at a mirror Earth called Terra, inhabited by sentient humanoid animals called Terrans. Humans and Terrans coexisted for a little while, but they eventually went to war. After 10 years of brutal warfare, they eventually found peace. Our story is set 50 years later. A madman named Ivan and his terror cell called Scythe are searching for a dangerous weapon that will allow them to take over the world. The only people who can stop them are the Renegades, a ragtag group of misfits including a teenage girl trained to be a soldier since she was a child, a teenage delinquent with a hoverboard, 2 super geniuses, a former heavyweight pro boxer with cybernetic augments, and a mysterious blue creature with no memories and the ability to manipulate water and ice. In order to stop Ivan, the Renegades will have to take on giant mechs, evil mega corporations, terrorists, cyborg ninjas, and more in their exciting debut. You can pick up the digital version for 99 cents or the print version for 17 bucks. You can also read the book for free as serials on my Wattpad and Minds accounts. They are updated every other week with a new section. Alright, let's get into this shit.
Okay, this is coming from Wired Productions. I assume that they're the developers or publishers of this game, Martha is Dead. That's the name of the, the title of the game. But like, I want to read out the statement and then I want to show you. Okay, maybe I should not show you this. This is way too graphical. Like comparing this to like The Last of Us Part 2 graphics, in terms of brutality and blood and gore. This is far, far worse.
Bruh. Honestly, it wasn't even that bad, and it wasn't even that bloody either. I'd say for like, especially the way people described it, I would say it was actually pretty tame by comparison. I honestly thought there was going to be more blood and gore, and see, the videos I watched, I didn't mention that the person was already dead. I thought you were doing it while they were alive, because, oh, that would be pretty fucked up. But I've seen worse in horror movies. Hell, I find the transformation scene with the dog in John Carpenter's The Thing more upsetting than this. Especially with how, like, the dog's face, like, splits open and the skull falls out and all those tentacles and extra limbs start exploding outside the dog. Like, ugh, that shit is just nasty. Like, that legit gave me nightmares the first time I saw it. This ain't doing too much for me.
And, okay. Now, I think I'm gonna have to defend PlayStation about this and actually have to agree. This is some graphical shit. Basically, let me tell you one quick example. In part of the footage of Martha is Dead, I'm not gonna show you this because YouTube will definitely block me for this. But I will explain a few details, not too much, and it's not gonna be way too graphic. Basically, guy, you can clearly see there's no censoring, nothing. You can see that the guy is taking, or girl, whatever, is taking a razor and actually cutting off a dead body's face off and applying it to themselves. That's it. And you can see every detail how he cuts it. It is absolutely disgusting. And I'm sure a lot of people will say like, well, look at the comparison with The Last of Us Part 2. Dude, really? Comparing this to The Last of Us Part 2 graphics, like in terms of gore and blood, that is a ginormous difference. This shouldn't even be a mature settings. This should be for like fucking a banned settings. In movies, you'd literally be looking away because you can clearly see guys about to rip off the face, skin off the face, and it's so graphical it looks like it's real. It's just too much.
I know I said this earlier, but I'm gonna repeat it just because it's relevant. The whole point of the scene and horror in general is to make you uncomfortable on some level. It doesn't necessarily have to be gore, because you can make people uncomfortable and scared without using gore. There's plenty of movies that do it, or they don't have that much gore, it's not like the focus. But the end goal is still the same. You're trying to make whoever is watching it uncomfortable. If I'm playing a horror game or reading like a horror book or comic or, you know, like a horror movie or something, and I'm completely comfortable the whole time, like I'm not unsettled at all, you failed. Now, of course, if you think Martha is Dead is too much for you, you know, like that's just, you don't want to see that shit, that's understandable, that's fine, you don't have to play it. And you also might want to avoid that one, I guess it's a subgenre of horror, what people call torture porn, which is just full of films that depict gore and people being tortured, and again, it's designed to get under your skin and make you feel uncomfortable.
What I've just explained regarding, you know, skin being removed on the face, that is speculated that what's the thing that just like, okay, Sony said, no, we're not putting this on the console, on the stores. Xbox and PC are unaffected. Well, PC, it's a different story, but kind of questionable why Xbox doesn't do this as well. I would not be surprised in a few days Xbox would say, okay, cannot go through. I would not be surprised. Or perhaps if you don't give a shit, of course they would just leave it there. It's pretty normal, you know. It's money, it's revenue, makes sense.
I'm curious, why is PC different for you? The game is M-rated, so that reduces the chances of, you know, most people like playing this, you know, people who shouldn't because they're not, you know, of age. So most people playing this would be 17 and up. I don't think you have a big risk of children seeing this, I mean, unless, you know, like an adult is playing the game and their kid walks in, which, I mean, that's on you, that can happen. But I guess he's trying to argue, I don't know, I guess he's trying to argue that less kids have gaming rigs than, you know, adults do, or at least gaming rigs that could probably run this game. It's less likely that a kid is gonna see this or buy this, I guess, on PC. I'm trying to figure out what his point is. I'm not really seeing it here. And good on Steam and Microsoft for not censoring this, by the way. And whether you like it or not, it is art and should not be censored just because you find it disgusting. Now, I can't see the like to dislike ratio. I really should install the browser extension that brings it back, but I'm lazy. But the fact that he only has 69 likes, 69, nice, and nearly every comment I found is disagreeing with him, makes me believe them dislikes are high, especially when I factor in the vid has over 9K views. In response to the backlash he got from this, he posted a comment and pinned it, where he's pretty much just doubling down on this whole thing.
People say that cutting someone's face off and applying it to themselves is art, and that shouldn't be censored. Lol. The messed up part about the Martha is Dead game is that the game is marketing on the shock value and simply doesn't deserve the recognition. Now sure, some may say the game is a horror and needs to have eerie moments with tension, and I understand that. Look, I am against censorship too. For example, I do not agree with PlayStation had a shine effect to censor out partial nudity in Devil May Cry 5, which I think was very stupid. But cutting a face off and then applying to yourself is disgusting, volatile, and disturbing. Now I know, some may say, well, The Last of Us Part 2 is no better, since a lot of disturbing scenes were not censored. Nothing came close in The Last of Us 2, as such as someone literally looking at a lifeless face and using a razor to cut it open in detail and then rip it off and apply it to themselves. If people like this sort of stuff or don't mind it, then that's fine, since it's their preference. But don't tell me this is art.
You don't get to decide what is and isn't art. Art is one of those things that you can make a very strong argument that art can be applied to a lot of things that most people probably wouldn't think of as art. I could probably argue computer programming is a form of art, especially since you can program your computer to make art with lines of code. Just because you don't like something or think it's disgusting doesn't mean it's not art. And if your argument is, I don't like it, so it's objectively not art, and therefore it's fine for it to be censored, that's a really dangerous argument, and that leads to a slippery slope. And people in the past and current day, depending on where you are, use that to censor things that absolutely are art. Now you can say you don't see something as art, but that doesn't mean that it objectively isn't art. Does that make sense? Also, you can't say you're against censorship and then say you're okay with the censoring of a face getting cut off in a game because you find it disgusting. That's like if I said I'm against stealing, and then a few months later I say like I'm okay with my friend stealing $200 from someone I dislike. It doesn't make sense. The game is M-rated, so it's marketed towards the adults, so this doesn't need to be censored. And besides, I can think of more messed up examples of gore in games like Mortal Kombat. And don't even get me started on movies either, because there's a lot of movies that would blow this shit out of the water in terms of just disgusting factor. You're not wrong for finding it gross or saying you don't want to see that stuff or play this game because it has that stuff. That's perfectly fine. I understand that. Where we have a problem is when you say something should be censored, or that it being censored is a good thing just because you don't like it. Hey, what's going on? It's Edgy in the editing room here. So while I was working on this video, I responded to the pinned comment. It's actually part of the script that I used. But something interesting happened. I checked my notifications a few minutes later, and well, he didn't respond, but he liked the comment and then hearted it. So I don't know if that means that he is recognizing that, you know, that the video, that his opinion in the video is just not good and that it's just a dumb argument. Especially when you claim to be, you know, against censorship, but then you say, no, but this censorship is okay. I don't know if that means that he's realized, oh yeah, I shouldn't, this was dumb or something. I'm gonna give him a benefit of the doubt and say that that's what that means. I've done this before. Sometimes I'll troll and like a heart and like a comment that I don't agree with just to mess with the person. But I'm not sure if that's what he's doing here. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt on that. If that's the case, that's good. That's cool. Again, I'm just responding to your comments. No hard feelings or anything. Alright, back to the video. Alright, I'm done. I'm linking a full playthrough of the demo if you do want to check out more of the game. I'm not sure if I'll buy this or if I'll play it, but I think this did give the devs some publicity, and I hope that does turn into sales for them. Hopefully other platforms don't follow Sony's example with this, but let me know what you guys think about this game in the comments. And although I don't think I need to tell you this, and it's not like me telling you this will stop you from doing it, and his channel is way bigger than mine anyway, so I doubt it's gonna matter. But don't send hate to ZDEyE's channel or his video.